Today, we'll explore major news shaping the world and India. Why did Pakistan PM nominate Trump for Nobel Peace Prize again at Gaza Summit? How is the US using Roosevelt Roads naval base against drug gangs? Do most Canadians support Ottawa's reset of ties with India? Did Erdogan's pressure prevent Netanyahu from attending Gaza Summit? Why is Afghan FM inviting Indian investors now? And who are Australian replacing ahead of India versus Australia Perth ODI? Namaste and welcome to Sutra Network, your trusted link to news, views, and stories that matter. At the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, Pakistan PM Shehbaz Sharif once again nominated US President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, praising his role in halting India-Pakistan tensions and achieving a ceasefire in Gaza. Sharif called Trump the most genuine and wonderful candidate and highlighted his outstanding contributions in saving millions of lives in South Asia and the Middle East. Speaking at the summit, Sharif said Pakistan had nominated President Trump for his extraordinary efforts to stop the war between India and Pakistan and achieve a ceasefire. Today, I again nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. He saluted Trump, calling him a man of peace and describing the Gaza ceasefire day as one of the greatest days in contemporary history. Sharif credited Trump and his team for preventing a potential escalation between two nuclear powers during a critical 4-day period. The summit, hosted by the US along with Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey, aimed to sign a ceasefire in Gaza, while Sharif's nomination was symbolic. India has rejected Trump's claims of mediating the India-Pakistan conflict, and the Nobel Committee does not accept nominations via public speeches. The official nomination deadline is January 31st of the award year. The US has revived the Roosevelt Roads Naval Station in Ceiba, Puerto Rico, as a strategic hub to combat drug trafficking in the Caribbean. Originally operational from 1944 to 2004, the base now supports military operations targeting Latin American drug cartels, particularly those linked to Venezuela. Advanced assets including F-35B fighter jets, MV-22 Ospreys and CH-53K helicopters have been deployed to enhance surveillance and interdiction capabilities. The base's 11,000-foot runway and deep water port enable efficient transport of personnel and supplies for coordinated counter-narcotic missions. The Pentagon has set up a joint counter-narcotics task force led by the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force, focusing on maritime and aerial operations to dismantle trafficking networks. While officials emphasize national security benefits, critics warn of potential legal and ethical concerns. Roosevelt Roads is now central to the US strategy in the region, signaling a renewed and aggressive approach to the war on drugs. A new survey shows that over half of Canadians support Ottawa's decision to reset relations with India amid improving diplomatic engagement. Conducted by the Angus Reid Institute with the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada, the poll found 51% believe restoring ties was the right move, while 22% disagreed. The ongoing US-Canada tariff dispute have also influenced Canadians to rethink trade with India, while trade opportunities and rule of law are nearly equally prioritized. 54% of respondents still hold an unfavorable view of India, though unfavorability has dropped from 60% last year. Only 32% feel knowledgeable about India, highlighting a need for public outreach. The reset follows improved diplomatic efforts, including Canada's Foreign Minister Anita Anand's visit to India and high-level talks between Prime Minister Modi and Canada's leadership. Experts say the public remains cautiously supportive, emphasizing diplomacy and awareness to strengthen bilateral relations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu missed the Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el Sheikh on October 13th, reportedly due to diplomatic pressure from Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, supported by other regional leaders. Netanyahu's attendance was initially confirmed by Egypt, but his office withdrew just 40 minutes later, AFP report. The summit focused on efforts to end the war in Gaza, with world leaders convening to negotiate a ceasefire. Turkish diplomatic sources confirmed Erdogan led the lobbying against Netanyahu's participation, blocking Israel's top leader from the discussion. Separately, US President Donald Trump called for a pardon for Netanyahu in his corruption case, mocking charges related to cigars, champagne, and money laundering during a speech to Israel's parliament. Trump suggested Israeli President Isaac Herzog should consider granting the pardon, highlighting his continued support for the Israeli PM despite ongoing legal proceedings. Afghan Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi has urged Indian investors to explore opportunities in Afghanistan's mining, infrastructure, roads, and aviation sectors, citing improved security and economic stability since the Islamic Emirates formation in 2021. Speaking at FICCI, he noted the Afghan currency has strengthened. Property values have risen and no major security incidents have occurred. Bilateral trade has already reached $1 billion and both countries are working on cargo air connectivity between Delhi, Kabul, Amritsar, Kabul and Amritsar, Kandahar to facilitate the transport of Afghan fresh fruits to India. Muttaqi highlighted the strategic importance of Iran's Chabahar airport and called for the removal of US restrictions affecting the project. He also urged India to ease visa issuance for Afghan nationals while Indian investors pledged increased investments. During his first official visit to India, Muttaqi met External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, with India announcing an upgraded embassy in Kabul, new humanitarian projects and enhanced connectivity through flights and visas. Britain's Domestic Intelligence Agency MI5 has issued a rare warning to UK MPs, highlighting that spies from China, Russia and Iran are attempting to undermine democracy through blackmail, phishing and cultivating personal or financial ties. Lawmakers have been urged to remain vigilant, report suspicious contact, and monitor unusual social interactions, including private meeting requests or excessive flattery. MI5 Director General Ken McCallum stressed that such activities erode the foundation of our sovereignty, noting that foreign manipulation damages national security and democratic processes. The alert follows a recent abandoned trial against two men accused of spying on MPs for Beijing due to insufficient government evidence. This is not the first instance of concern over Chinese interference. Previous cases involved alleged political influence through donation to MPs, while Prime Minister Keir Starmer seeks improved ties with China. Espionage allegations continue to strain relations. MPs are now being urged to take immediate precautions to protect themselves and UK democracy. Australia have made two last-minute changes to their squad for the first ODI against India on October 19th in Perth. Key players Adam Zampa and Josh English will miss the opener. Zampa to be with his pregnant wife and English recovering from a calf strain. Spinner Matthew Koeman and wicketkeeper batter Josh Philippe have been called in as replacements. Test specialist and ODI batting mainstay Alex Carey will also be absent for the Perth game, honoring his Sheffield Shield commitment ahead of the Ashes. Zampa is expected to return for the remaining ODIs and the subsequent T20Is. Cameron Green, in excellent form, will feature in the first two matches but might miss the final ODI due to domestic commitments. This reshuffle lineup gives opportunities to Koeman, playing his first ODI in 3 years, and Philippe, keeping wickets in ODIs for the first time. Australia aim to maintain momentum despite the disruptions in their squad. SpaceX achieved a major milestone with the 11th test flight of its Starship Super Heavy rocket on October 14, 2025. The launch tested reusability, heat shields, and deployed mock Starlink satellites. Shortly after liftoff, the booster and upper stage separated through a hot staging process. The booster attempted a controlled descent, safely splashing down in the Gulf of Mexico, while the upper stage completed its descent into the Indian Ocean, resulting in a planned crash. The flight marks the second successful return on the version 2 Starship prototype after previous failure. SpaceX confirmed that Raptor engines ignited correctly at the separation, enabling a landing burn for the booster. Elon Musk surprised viewers by appearing live during the webcast to monitor the launch. Acting NASA Administrator Sean Duffy called it another major step toward landing Americans on the moon's south pole. The mission also tested new heat shield tiles and briefly reignited engines in space. Future Starship prototypes will include upgrades for long-duration missions, docking adapters and orbital refueling, key for transferring supercooled propellant between rockets. This flight underlines SpaceX's commitment to achieving fully reusable rockets for ambitious space exploration. A powerful typhoon battered western Alaska over the weekend, unleashing hurricane force winds and storm surges that swept away homes and submerged entire communities. The Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta was hardest hit, with severe flooding reported in Kipnuk, Wiglingcock, and Napaki. At least one woman was found dead in Wiglingcock, while two others remain missing. Over 1,000 residents were displaced, seeking refuge in emergency shelters. Kipnuk saw 587 people sheltered with its runway damaged and communication lines down. Satellite internet is being deployed. Wiglingcock sheltered around 400 residents and Nabakik reported catastrophic damage, with locals calling it the worst I have ever seen. Rescue operations involved the Alaska National Guard, U.S. Army National Guard, Alaska State Troopers, and U.S. Coast Guard Cap. Christopher Culpepper described the situation as absolute devastation, noting homes were lifted off foundations, forcing residents to cling to debris to survive amid deep floodwaters. Now, time for today's piece of information. Do you know why the Indian flag is hosted on Independence Day but unfurled on Republic Day? On August 50, the Prime Minister raises the flag from the bottom of the pole, symbolizing freedom from colonial rule and patriotism. On January 26, the President unfurls the folded flag at the top of the pole without raising it, representing commitment to the Constitution, democracy, and sovereignty. Hosting marks independence, while unfurling reflects dedication to constitutional values. For more such global updates, subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon, and do visit our website.